Welcome to the Eczema Warrior podcast. I'm your host, Julia Chen. I'm here to help you heal your eczema naturally so you can finally live your best damn life. Many years ago in my own eczema healing journey, I was stuck and confused on how to heal my skin. Fast forward to today, after many lessons learned and lots of trial and error, I'm now living my best life and traveling the world with clearer skin. If you're an eczema or TSW warrior who desires a life of food freedom and is wanting to heal your skin without steroids while using mindset and manifestation as a tool, you're in the right place. Now let's get into it. Hi everyone, welcome to episode 81 of the podcast. So I shared a little bit of a life update in last week's episode, all that's been going on over the past few months, kind of being all over the place, being back home in Canada, and then now I'm in Medellin, Colombia, settling in over the past week. And I'm actually heading over to a microbiome conference, which I'm really excited about, to learn all the latest research, all the topics around gut health, microbiome, supplements I'm sure that some of the speakers will talk about. It's actually my first ever conference that I've been to in person besides the Eczema Expo that I went to a couple years ago, or last year. Last year. So I'm really excited. That's going to be happening in Monterey, California. I think I'm saying that place right. And then after the conference, I'm heading back to Vancouver to move the rest of my stuff back down to Colombia. So that's a bit of what's happening in the next 2 weeks. And I'm very excited to also share that I do have a date planned for a free live training. I haven't done this since like a big one since January of this year, which feels like a long time ago. I'm going to announce the date for this training fairly soon. I want to finalize everything and make sure everything looks good in terms of the date, in terms of the timing of this live training and planning it. And then I'll let you guys know on the podcast. And if anyone else follows me on social media, I'll also be sharing that as well. Alrighty, so today's episode, we are talking about the root causes of gut issues. I know a lot of you listening to this podcast sometimes I don't know when to say eczema or eczema because people call me out when I say eczema, but that's how I was taught to pronounce it because I'm Canadian. But then I also say eczema sometimes because I know everywhere else in the world says eczema, so I tend to kind of use the words interchangeably. But anyways, let's just say eczema because I feel like that's more universal. I know a lot of you here are dealing with eczema as like your main symptom. I mean, this is an eczema podcast, but I'm also trying to branch out of eczema and see other clients who may not necessarily have eczema and have other issues like the gut. Plus, the gut and skin are connected, as you guys know. So when you have skin issues, you typically always have gut issues as well. So today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 root causes of gut issues. And some of these root causes may not be the first thing that you might think of. And this is why I kind of want to talk about some of these ones in particular, because when we think about gut issues, I think most people kind of go towards, because I eat a poor diet or because I don't eat enough fiber, which yes, these can definitely contribute to gut issues. But I want to talk about these particular root causes in a deeper level because it indirectly causes gut issues. And I think this is where sometimes we forget about how these certain aspects of our life can contribute to the inflammation in your gut. That's not talked about enough, or we kind of forget about it because we don't think that's the actual root cause. And so I'm here to dive into it today with you guys. And by the way, there's no particular order as to which root cause is more prominent than the other or more important. So just want to keep that in mind. Sorry, before we dive into the root causes, actually, when I say gut issues, I mean any symptoms that you're experiencing related to the gut. So this could look like constipation when you're not pooping every day. Even if you're pooping every other day, that could be considered constipation as well. If you experience bloating, feeling very full after your meals for a long period of time, if you are gassy, if you fart a lot, if you have diarrhea, if you notice your stools are very inconsistent in terms of the texture, so let's say it's more difficult to pass, so it's a lot more harder, versus a healthy stool will be easier to pass. If you notice pain in the gut, these are some examples of what gut issues could look like. And then there's also gut issues because of certain conditions. Maybe you're someone who has irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, IBD, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis. These are inflammatory conditions that happen in the gut. And then also if you have certain types of food intolerances, where you experience symptoms as a result of eating certain foods, that also counts as gut issues as well. Okay, so the first root cause of why you're experiencing gut issues is because your elimination diet. I know you guys have heard me say this many times. Elimination diets are not the answer when it comes to resolving your gut issues. The thing with elimination diets is that it can be a blessing and a curse for your gut health. It's a blessing in a way because, yes, it helps to determine what your possible food intolerances can be because you're eliminating foods out of your diet for a period of time. And then once you add them back, you might notice symptoms, and then that can tell you a lot in terms of which foods you're actually intolerant to. And you wouldn't be able to figure that out unless you did a temporary elimination diet. So yes, it can be helpful. It can also be helpful because when you're on an elimination diet, you're also removing foods that can contribute to inflammation. So certain foods like gluten and dairy and anything processed, overly processed, can cause inflammation in the gut. That being said, not everybody will have symptoms when they eat gluten or symptoms when they eat dairy, but certain people do, right? And so that can be helpful when you go on these diets because you're eliminating foods that are contributing to your symptoms and then helping you identify what your food intolerances are. However, the curse when it comes to being on these elimination diets is that it can severely cause nutrient deficiencies and gut imbalances, especially if you don't have proper guidance and you don't have a proper plan in removing these foods out of your diet and then reintroducing them back into your diet. Your skin, your gut, and your body in general needs sufficient nutrients to thrive and survive. When you're on these elimination diets that are too strict or you've been on it for too long, and when I say too long, I mean anything longer than 3, 4, 5 months is considered too long, then you're increasing the risk of you developing nutrient deficiencies because you're not eating a lot of foods in your diet, right? There's a lot of food groups that people tend to avoid for a long period of time, even fruits, even vegetables, right? Some of these elimination diets get you to avoid fruits and vegetables and foods that are supposed to be whole foods. And when you are not getting enough diversity in your diet, then your gut microbiome is going to suffer. Your gut needs nutrients, it needs diversity. This is how your good microbes in your gut flourish. So the reason why that you're experiencing gut issues is because of this elimination diet that you probably are on it for too long that is now causing all of these issues. So it's kind of contradictory to kind of what you're doing, right? Because I know a lot of you are going on these elimination diets to resolve your gut issues, but then it actually does exactly what you don't want it to do, right? Which then I'm sure you get frustrated because the whole reason why you're on this diet is to resolve your symptoms, but then the exact opposite happens and you still have these symptoms. And in fact, a lot of these times, your symptoms are a lot worse than when you originally started. So if this is the case for you, then number one, your diet's probably way too restrictive. And number two, your root cause isn't actually going on these diets. And you may need to look deeper into what else is going on, which we'll talk about for the rest of the root causes. I actually had someone comment on one of my videos the other day, and she shared that when she went on a strict elimination diet because she wanted to heal her acne, she got the worst eczema she ever got. And she was so confused until she started to add foods back into your diet. Her eczema completely cleared. So I think that says a lot. And there's a lot of science and research behind why that is the case, as I just talked about. So you want to be careful with not removing so many foods out of your diet to the point that it is becoming detrimental to your gut health and also weakening the gut microbiome. The second root cause of why you have gut issues is because of your previous history of antibiotic use or your history since you were young. When I'm doing an assessment on my clients, I'm always asking them how many times they've taken antibiotics over the recent years, so in the last 1 or 2 years. And then I'm also asking about their health growing up since they were young. Were they on a lot of medications and a lot of antibiotics because they were sick often, for example? Because this can tell us a lot in terms of someone's overall gut health. When you take antibiotics, it wipes out the bad bacteria, which is why people go on antibiotics, because you have an infection going on. So it gets rid of the bad bacteria, but what it also does is it gets rid of the beneficial bacteria that we need to keep our gut and immune system strong. So if you're someone who has taken antibiotics one time in the past couple of years, that's fine. That's not a huge deal. However, you also want to make sure that you're supporting your gut health and healing your gut during your antibiotic therapy, but also post antibiotic therapy as well. And if you've had multiple rounds of antibiotic use in the past couple years, then you likely have some sort of dysbiosis, which is why gut issues tend to happen after people have taken antibiotics, which is why some people experience C. diff, which is an infection in the gut caused by a certain bacteria. When I used to work in the hospital, we saw this a lot in our patients who were on multiple rounds of antibiotics because it disrupted the normal healthy bacteria of their gut because of antibiotics. And then they develop this awful infection because you're getting this like severe diarrhea where you're literally just like shitting your pants like all day long, and like it's really bad, and you have to be on antibiotics to cure that. And so you get in this cycle of being on antibiotics and trying to cure this infection, and it really damages the gut. And not only this, C. diff is highly infectious and it's transmitted very easily to people. Sometimes this is what antibiotics can do to you if you've been on it for multiple rounds. And so it's important that we are supporting our gut while you're on antibiotics and eating the right foods and taking the necessary supplements. I recently had a staph infection of the skin back in May. It was awful. I had a whole episode about this, so definitely tune into that episode if you guys want to learn more about that and what happened. But I made sure that I ate prebiotics, that I took probiotics, that I took really good care of my gut during my 1-week treatment of antibiotics, and I recovered fairly well. So if you're someone who has been experiencing gut issues and you know you have a history of taking antibiotics, then it's something that I highly suggest you to look deeper into, because you might have candida as a result of antibiotic use. That's very common. IBS, SIBO as well. So if you need support when it comes to healing your gut and working on these things, then you can definitely reach out to me. I can help you with getting your gut back to normal. The third root cause for your gut issues is chronic stress. I know you've heard me say this a million times, but it's because it is really, I believe, the number one root cause for a lot of people's issues. Statistically, chronic stress is like causes so many different issues, chronic diseases, eczema, cancer, autoimmune disease. Like chronic stress really is the silent killer. And so we need to be really mindful of how our stress levels are impacting our gut. Chronic stress affects the gut-brain axis. It causes inflammation in the gut. It causes gut permeability, digestive issues. It alters the gut microbiome, so it's promoting bad bacteria versus the good bacteria. And all in all, it's just not a good recipe for healing at all, and actually makes people feel worse despite eating healthy and despite taking the supplements, because no diet or no supplements is going to heal you if we aren't practicing mindfulness and stress management techniques on a daily basis. A lot of people don't know how stressed they really are, and I think that's a problem nowadays. Is like, we all know stress is there, and a lot of people think they're not actually stressed because they are so used to being autopilot. They're so used to having this crazy lifestyle that they don't even know that that's not normal. So your body has been in constant fight or flight for God knows how long, years and years and years. So you don't even know what it feels like to not have stress. You don't even know what it feels like to have a regulated nervous system, right? So sometimes this means working with somebody to help you audit your lifestyle, look deeper into your stress and mindset, so that you can start determining what are some areas in your life that you need to work on, and how we can start to incorporate mindfulness in order to heal some of these inflammatory symptoms and gut issues that you're experiencing. I personally didn't know how stressed I was until I worked with my mindset coach, my therapist, my psychic medium. A lot of my stress comes from myself, literally from my own thoughts and creating my own problems in my head. I used to think stress meant how hard I worked in school, in my work, how many things I'm doing in a day. I thought that was chronic stress, but it was so much more deeper than that. It was like my own thoughts, how I spoke to myself, and the things that I think about on a daily basis, which were often negative, looking deeper into my traumas from childhood and things like that, because that carries in your body. Whatever stress you have, physically, mentally, emotionally, it carries inside your body. It's stored inside your body. And so if you don't have a way to help release some of those negative emotions and trauma and stress, then it's going to come out on your skin. It's going to come out as a gut problem. And if we don't do it now, then it's going to be a lot more difficult to work on it as you get older. And that comes with anything when it comes to health. It always becomes more difficult as you age. So it's important to work on these things now. Okay, the fourth root cause is gut infections. Gut infections, for example, fungal overgrowth, candida, dysbiosis in general, H. pylori, SIBO. These are things that overgrow in your gut that shouldn't be there. And if they are overgrowing in your gut, and this could be why you're experiencing chronic gut issues. I have a few episodes on my podcast that talk about gut dysbiosis. So if you want to look through the podcast episodes, you'll find some episodes about candida and gut dysbiosis. But generally speaking, when you have gut infections, this could be the reason why you're experiencing a lot of these symptoms. For example, candida can cause constipation. It can also cause diarrhea. If you have SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, then you'll experience severe bloating, reaction to certain foods. Maybe when you fart, you notice that it smells like rotten eggs. That could be a symptom of SIBO as well. So first of all, you want to assess what symptoms that you have. And then the next step after that is to determine which one of these gut infections that you have, which, by the way, you will probably require working with somebody who is experienced in this field or able to get some testing done. Then it could be helpful in determining what gut infections you have in your gut. And then we use diet, supplements, and lifestyle changes in order to effectively treat these gut infections and restore your microbiome and your gut health. Gut infections can occur from a million different reasons. A lot of the times it's a combination of a poor diet, chronic stress, antibiotics, medications, traveling to a third world country. Some people get gut infections as a result of that. And so it does require a thorough medical history review to determine the root cause of your gut infection and then have a proper protocol to address it. Okay, the last root cause of your gut issues is lack of sleep. You guys might be surprised how much sleep actually affects your gut. Sleep deprivation, so anytime you're sleeping not enough during the night, I would say sleep deprivation accounts for anything less than 6 hours of sleep. Even 6 hours of sleep is not enough. A typical healthy human being needs about 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. If you're sleeping less than that over a period of time, sleep deprivation, it disrupts the gut microbiome. When you're also not sleeping enough, you're also impacting your circadian rhythm. And your circadian rhythm is the natural internal process that helps to regulate your sleep every 24 hours. It is important for digestive processes. It helps to improve gut motility. It also helps to regulate your cortisol levels, which is the hormone related to stress. And when your cortisol levels are imbalanced and it's sky high, then that's going to cause more stress, more inflammation, resulting in gut issues. Sleep is also a crucial time for your body to heal. So when you're experiencing symptoms of inflammation, eczema flares, gut issues, fatigue, headaches, anything like that, you need proper sleep in order to recover from these conditions. Sleep is so restorative and regenerative for your body. So when you sleep too late, if you go to bed around 2 to 3 a.m. and you only sleep a few hours, you're not getting that quality sleep to help your body heal. So I always say aim to sleep before 11 o'clock and get a full night's sleep, 8 hours if you can. And that way you're going to heal a lot faster. Your gut issues are going to improve. You're going to notice just feeling overall better. And that's what we want, right? We want to feel good in our body. We want to be healing. We want to be symptom free. And so we have to make sure that we are taking care of our bodies in every aspect, in our diet, in our lifestyle, in our stress, in our mindset, getting the support so we can look deeper into what's going on with your root causes and your medical history and things like that. And from there, you can achieve a healthy, vibrant life where you don't have symptoms that bother you. And if they do, because symptoms do come and go sometimes, depending on what's going on in your life, you have an action plan and you know what to do to heal it. And that's a beautiful thing about your body. When you understand it, when you are in tune with it, when you know your root causes, then you can always heal it faster than you can ever imagine without guessing anymore. Okay, that's what I have for today's episodes, the 5 root causes of your gut issues. If you have any questions, please reach out to me on my social media. I'm the most active on my Instagram, which is at juliachen.rd. If you want to work with me, you can send me an email. You can apply for coaching in the show notes below. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we will catch you in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Now, before I let you go, I want to let you know I have this amazing eczema visualization. This visualization has helped me so much when it comes to manifesting eczema healing flares faster than I can ever imagine, reducing the itch, and just feeling great in my body. This is the exact same visualization I use for my own healing as well as my clients' healing as well. And if you want to receive this visualization, then all you have to do is leave us a review and tell us what you think about the podcast, screenshot it, send it to your email at hello@juliachen.ca, and you will receive the visualization to your inbox. I look forward to seeing your review, and we will see you in the next episode.